Good morning, Mayor and Council. I want to begin by stating that we are on the traditional unceded territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh people. My Chinese name is Lei Gaiwai, my English name is Kevin Lee, and I'm here to voice my opposition to the rezoning of 105 Keefer. I'm here today to reiterate to Mayor and Council that from other accounts of its prolific and lengthy history, Chinatown is a visceral symbol of the fight against adversity. And this development, 105 Keefer, threatens the history and heritage that generations of Canadians draw inspiration from. But more importantly, I'm also asking you, Mayor and Council, to reject this development for its short-sightedness in its failure to follow the Chinatown Neighborhood Plan and its contravention to the HA1A rezoning policy. The plan stated that, quote, to remain economically competitive, Chinatown must do so without losing its culture and heritage, assets that define its identity and set it apart from other neighborhoods, end quote. 105 Keefer does not fulfill any of these statements. Firstly, the Keefer Triangle site was cited by city staff as, quote, a key community gathering and ceremonial space in Chinatown, end quote, with the monument to Chinese Canadians and used in community events like the Remembrance Day ceremony by Chinese Canadian vets. But in contravention of Clause 6A of the HA1A rezoning policy, the size and height of this development encroaches on the cultural sensitivity of this space. Its adjacent architectural scale and orientation does not respect historic Chinatown, and in points made by city staff report, specifically Appendix D, would still disturb the view seen in the Sun Yat-sen Gardens and the Chinese Cultural Center. Secondly, like many of those here, I am not opposed to redevelopment, and I too would love to see Chinatown revitalized. But we have to recognize that this development misrepresents its promise that it will be key to creating the vitality that numerous business associations are seeking. In their report, city staff mentioned 6 condo towers with market-priced units, such as Ginger, V6A, Keefer Block, all located in HA1A that had been approved. These towers have 750 market-priced units between them all. Yet, since the approval and development of condo towers in Chinatown, we have slowly seen legacy businesses that have helped uphold Chinatown's culture and heritage pushed out. I ask you, how is City Council continuing to keep the identity of Chinatown alive if we're not being sensitive to the correlation between approved developments and the loss of assets outlined in the neighborhood plan? The plan also states, quote, for Chinatown to continue to remain relevant in a more multicultural Vancouver, it must strive to connect to younger generations and to reach out to people of all backgrounds, end quote. But the provision of market housing is geared towards only those with the upper economic status to afford these apartments. A current look at the real estate price listings as of today within this geographic area of HA1A sees an average asking price of $1.1 million in one of the poorest postal codes of Canada. This isn't a question of whether gentrification will happen if this development is approved. It's happening already, and the approval of 105 Keefer will further drive up speculative investment, drive up neighborhood dwelling values, and push out legacy businesses and affordable housing. And BD, the developer, is promising us 25 social housing units that are fully taxpayer subsidized as a compromise, and to that point, no CACs? How can we accept only 25 units in the face of an affordability crisis, and one that disproportionately impacts seniors on welfare and pension, when BD can do better and council can ask for much better? If you want people to come back to Chinatown, and you want them to stay and help build community, market housing isn't the key, especially housing that younger generations and poorer socioeconomic backgrounds can barely finance. We've heard again and again that BD's development is a solution for issues surrounding affordability, housing, revitalization in Chinatown, and I disagree with this. Mayor Robertson, in December 2012, you told a crowd at Creative Mornings, quote, applying creativity has to be at the core of solving problems. A big part of creativity is being open. You can either go with it or stick to your current path, end quote. Shouldn't we hold developers to the standard also? That is why I'm asking you and council to reject this proposal. In light of the historic importance of Chinatown and the contraventions to policy and plan, have BD go back to the drawing board, be creative in the reapplication, and meet all criteria and recommendations set by the Chinatown Neighborhood Plan, and more importantly, the HA1A rezoning policy. Thank you.
Thank you. You have questions?